Welcome to episode 13 of Matthew Linity. Okay, so the second pericope in Matthew chapter 2. And once again, Herod is a key character. In fact, all 5 pericopes in Matthew chapter 2 seem to be based around Herod. Even the final pericope at the end of the chapter, it begins by saying, after the death of Herod. And then Herod is mentioned again as Herod, the father of Archelaus. And he's still looming large in the picture. Joseph's still a bit afraid to be too close to Jerusalem because of the after effects. His presence is still being felt. Okay, so I'll just read aloud the second pericope, verses 7 to 12 of Matthew chapter 2. Then Herod, privately, after calling the Magi, carefully determined from them the time the star had appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem. He said, "Go, search out carefully for the child, and when you have found out, come tell me, so that I also may go and worship him." Having heard the king, they went out, and behold, the star that they had seen in its rising had gone on ahead of them, until, having come and stood over the place where the child was. Seeing the star, they rejoiced a very great joy, and after entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and opening up their treasures, they brought to him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they went back to their home country another way. Okay, so we've got Herod sending the Magi off, as if Herod can just expect that they will obey him, as if the Magi work for him, but the Magi don't work for him. But then, on the other hand, they might feel some obligation to return to Herod and do what he says, because Herod's the one that's answered their question. He's figured out where to go to Bethlehem. So he's come up with the answer, and then he sent them off with an instruction to come back and tell him exactly where the child is. But then they don't. They're more willing to believe the dream that they've received rather than trust Herod, which probably shows that there's already a level of mistrust or distrust between the Magi and Herod, that they don't feel completely obliged to Herod. They're willing to listen to a dream over against Herod's instruction, and to not go back to Herod, to not follow through on the instruction that they've been given. But then again, they don't work for Herod, so they're not completely compelled. They don't feel compelled or indebted to Herod. They are independent. In fact, they're already independent of Herod. They don't come from Herod's country. They're not from Herod's country. They come from a different country. They come from somewhere else. But they don't feel like they have to obey Herod. So they are the disobedient Magi. They're not bound to obey Herod. Now, there's a question that I had when I started looking at this, and I think that it's resolved for me now. But the question is about why are the Magi warned? Why are they warned? Like, what doesn't seem to help save the child? So, I mean, Joseph is the one that manages to get the family out. He receives another dream and gets the family out. That's not in this pericope, but in terms of warning the Magi in a dream, is that for their own benefit? It doesn't seem to be for the benefit of the child. It doesn't seem to work. Like, who does it save? It saves the Magi? Were the Magi in danger? So it really got me thinking about, hang on, what does this achieve? This warning in a dream. Does it work? What role does the dream play in this story? For the Magi receive a dream warning them not to return to Herod, but how does that help? How does that help the story? How does that help? And the more that I think about this, the more that I realise it's really for the Magi to finish this pericope. Like, what happens to the Magi at the end of the pericope? Like, the pericope needs to conclude a little bit with the Magi's story. Like, it concludes the Magi's story. What happens to them? Do they go back to Herod? How do they know what to do next? So it's raising the profile of the Magi. It's showing that they can not only interpret the signs in the sky, they can interpret things in the sky. They can also interpret dreams. So it's a fitting conclusion to their story episode. So it's not trying to show that they have this new mission to try to save the child. It's not that the dream has told them about what's going to happen. It's just that the dream has warned them, don't go back. Here it's dangerous, don't go back. I mean, it doesn't tell us the details of the dream, it just says warned in a dream not to go back. So it's really to finish off. We get to have a little conclusion for how did they get home, by showing once again how good they are at interpreting things, being sensitive to listening and seeing and interpreting. Well, what is it that's going on that they need to do next? It's showing how mission accomplished for the Magi. Their mission was to track down this child, to honour this child, to bring gifts, to celebrate what they perceive to be a new king born in Judea. So this new king, they've found this new king, they're celebrating this new king, and they get to show what they know. They've perceived it. They're the first ones to figure this out. So they get to honour, they get to be the first ones, according to Matthew, in the story that we have, according to Matthew, they get to be the first ones to honour this newborn king. They take back the news of what they have seen, and so there's traditions of the Magi being the first ones to evangelize back in their home country. Some Christians actually do trace their heritage back to the Magi as the first evangelists. That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening.